Okay, first thing you want to do is you want to take off this little copper washer here. This is easily done by a razor blade. Second thing that I always do is I like to take off all the O-rings. Just get yourself a pick set. Just take these off. All the tools, most of the tools that are seen in this video can be bought at my eBay store. The links will be in the description below. The main special tools that you'll need is the vice jaws that will be seen later on in this video, along with a 1 3/16" crowfoot. It's probably not something you have in your toolbox. Some of the specialty IP bits. You can get away with a Torx 20 bit, but it's not as much fun. Once you get all these off, you want to take a 1/4 inch nut driver. This will fit over your injector tip. This works out perfectly because it doesn't interfere with the injector holes. Then you want a small hammer or a larger hammer, but you don't really want to hit very hard on this. There's pins in these injectors. There's 6 pins, and they're easy to shear off because carbon builds up in here. Spray some brake cleaner on it, give it a couple taps, and this will free any of the carbon up in the injector. Now what you want to do is make sure that your vice jaws are set right. In the toolkit you will have a washer that generally measures 70 to 80 thousandths. You don't want these to go over 90 thousandths, because what will happen is your pins on your set screws will actually pinch the barrel and plunger, and you will break those pins and cause damage to the barrel and retaining ring. So this doesn't take a whole lot of pressure, just enough to hold it into place. So now that we have done all of that, there are 2 halves to this injector. There is an oil side and a fuel side. I always like to take off the top half first with an 1 3/16" wrench. This is not how you will put it back together, but I'll just break free just like that. There's a lot of oil in the oil side of it, and this is why I take it apart this way. Now inside of here there is a bunch of small parts. This is why we have this baking tray here. It's really easy, non-stick. Pick these up at the dollar store for obviously $1, and holds all the parts very nicely. I just always knock everything out there. You'll want to make sure when you take these apart, I always take them apart one by one so all the parts stay together. These are matched. so you cannot interchange the needle with the nozzle. So make sure you always keep those matched. Your barrels and plungers are also matched. So, but I just suggest that you just do this one at a time, then there's no hassles. And then I always start separating all your parts here. Then you'll need your pick. Well, you don't need it, but it helps. So we'll remove this piece there. Put your pick in here, remove that. There will always be some wear in here. If you're just doing a basic rebuild, you just want to replace the parts. And these springs always wear out. This one's not too bad, but never reuse these springs. These springs aren't as bad because they don't have a whole lot of tension on them. These are very, very high pressure. They hold back the nozzle from popping up. So you will have 2 short pins and 4 long pins. These long pins are the ones that like to break if you do not free up the tip, as I showed you with the hammer and the 1/4 inch driver. This isn't all. Then take off this retaining ring. There's a check ball in there as well. This is the whole disassembly of this. Obviously you want to clean these parts up really well. If you have a little ultrasonic cleaner, maybe use it to clean your guns or whatever, this will help out tremendously if you have that. If not, you can clean it up with some Scotch-Brite and carb cleaner, or alcohol or acetone or whatever, really. Now we will go on to disassembling the top half of the injector. Now I am going to show you how to disassemble the oil side of a 7.3 injector. This side has quite a few parts in it as well, but it is easy enough to disassemble. Just want to lock it up in your vise. Okay. Now what you will first need is a IP 15-bit, your 1/4 inch driver. I also use a little drill because disassembling these things gets pretty tedious after a while. Now this, you want to check your solenoid. It is not hitting. You will also want to check the clearance between here. This is just a disassembly video though, so I won't go into too much detail. When you reassemble it, you want to make sure that this is matching with the lines on here. You'll need this 4.5 millimeter external Torx Plus bit to disassemble this. The easiest way to take this off is a small crescent wrench. I don't have one nearby. Instead, you can also use your spacer plate. Just get a few threads in. This will keep your armature plate from spinning when you try to take it off. These should not be that tight. Oh. I can leave torque specs in the upcoming video for this, for reassembling it. This you want to change out for your IP20 bit. Sometimes these are pretty tight and I have to use a small 1/4-inch ratchet to take these out. Okay, you'll want to make sure that this is tight enough in your vise so this piece does not move, because what will happen is your bottom half here will drop as you're trying to take this out. You want to loosen these up just a smidge first. Then you want to take out 2 diagonally. With your opposite hand, you'll want to hold this down because there's a spring under here that will hold tension onto those screws. It'll mess things up if you do not hold this down. This is held in here by an O-ring. Just use your poppet valve to push that out. And then take out this O-ring in here so you can replace it. Okay, so now we are down to the poppet valve and your intensifier piston on the other side. You want to put a rag or something underneath this because it's pretty oily in here. Now there's a little cavity right in here that goes down. This is what the oil passes through to push the intensifier piston out. What you'll want to do is get an air gun. And luckily enough, this air gun here has the perfect tip to fit down in there. If you don't have an air gun like this, you probably have to make some sort of a attachment or something. Or and just with light pressure, you want to push that out. Hold your finger underneath it so that the intensifier piston does not go flying out. Here's your intensifier piston and the rest of your parts. Now for the final part of disassembly, you want to get your O-ring out. And get your other O-ring out of here. And then you're done disassembling the injector. For watching, and all the tools seen in this, most of the tools seen in this video can be found in the description below. I am Anthony, and have a nice day.